For any Xbox or PlayStation codes or cheap games on any platform, use the referral link in the description. It'll take you to g2a.com. Use the promo code CHES over there and you'll get yourself 3% cash back. For all No Identity merchandise, hats, hoodies and t-shirts, follow the link in the description down below to the No Identity Fan Fibre website. Hey guys, welcome to part 2 of the previous weekend's FUT Champions games. We of course played very well in part 1 in the opening 20 games, or at least for the majority of the opening 20 games. I kind of fell apart towards the end. We went 12-4 and then lost 4 straight in a row. So unfortunately we only won 12 of the opening 20 when I really almost certainly should have been on 15, 16 wins, to be fair, throughout the entirety of the opening 20. I was very disappointed to have done so poorly in those final 4 games. Unfortunately, as I progressed out of those final 4 games and into the next day's worth of games, things, for some reason, only seemed to get worse. I lost those 4, and then when I started again the next day, I won my first game, then proceeded to lose another 5 in a row. Yeah, I honestly, I have absolutely no idea what happened. I went 11-1, and then 1-10. Or 2-12, I think, in total, actually, if I'm looking at this FUTWiz thing. I will go through the stats in closer detail in Friday's video. We do the rewards, and then we'll have a look at the FUTWiz stat tracker. But, yeah, I went 11-1, and then 2-12. So, I don't really know what went wrong. I've absolutely no idea. I can't begin to explain to you because the majority of it was me being frustrated at myself for my inability to seemingly do anything. My first touches were off, my shooting was inaccurate, my passes were inaccurate, my tackles were mistimed. Things like that were happening. If you have a look at the replay of this, I didn't press anything with Chris Smalling, but if you watch him, he stumbles. He actually reaches for the ball just there, and that lets Marek Hamsik in. I mean, it's a great finish, take nothing away from that, but just little things like that were going against me in this one. And again, tackle Florenzi, runs off with the ball, and or like Marcos Alonso's first touch just takes it straight into the path of Alessandro Florenzi, and he buries it in the back of the net, and that put me 3-1 down, and I was looking like I was going to lose another one here, but we're able to get ourselves back in. Obviously, we were going to get back into it because you'll see in the game, and I only show the wins from my FUT Champions, so clearly we were going to get back into it, but that was the sort of thing that was happening to me, and it was going on game after game after game. I was like, after being as confident as I've ever been when playing the run of 11-1, I was as unconfident and demoralised as I've ever been when playing this run of games. I just was like, I've never been as angry at a video game as I was playing these games, and because I was in such a rage, I just was not playing anywhere near the quality of football that I'm capable of. I was rushing things, I was diving into tackles, I wasn't thinking about what I was doing, I was flying from back to front and then getting caught on the counter-attack time and time again, and I just could not break out of that run of games. And had I not had such a busy schedule over the weekend and over the beginning part of this week where I was away in London, I would have just stopped and taken a break, especially considering we got the extra 24 hours to finish the games. I would have just stopped when I was like 3 or 4 games in, but I just had to keep powering through, and thankfully in the end I did power through and was able to go I think 8-4 in my final 12 games. But my god, I just had to keep pushing and pushing and pushing. I played 20 games in the one day and just smashed all the way through that negative spell, and then started playing really good football again towards the end of the night. So I just every week I'm like, right, I'm gonna play patient football, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, and I start off doing exactly that. I was 12-4, and then I went and lost like 10 of my next 12 games. The most infuriating thing is the fact that it's me. Nine times out of 10, it's my own mistakes and my own inability to keep my cool under pressure, and my own inability to play decent football when up against it and, being in a mood. If I was able to be angry and still play good football, then I'd be fine. but I just fall apart, and it's clearly something that I need to work on with regards to my overall game. But I am judging by the runs of wins, take out the runs of defeats I've been going on, but the past couple of weeks, the runs of wins I've gone on, the second part of last week when I first changed the way that I was playing my game, and then the first part of this week where I was continuing in that same vein, I was, playing to Elite 3, maybe even pushing Elite 2 standard, but it all fell apart. So what I'm planning on doing for this upcoming weekend is quite literally doing nothing at all but playing FUT Champions, so I can properly manage my weekend. Because I'm as a career mode YouTuber that wants to try and build some sort of fan base with regards Ultimate Team, or some sort of viewer base with regards Ultimate Team. I'm so desperate to prove myself on the Ultimate Team scene, to be a career mode guy that can get Gold 1 and Elite 3 and compete with the other Ultimate Team YouTubers, that I get so competitive. Plus, I get really OCD about my record and numbers and stuff. So when it starts going downhill, I just spiral out of control. And I don't know, I really want to be able to prove, because obviously there's the whole banter about, yeah, you're a career mode YouTuber, stick to career mode, etc. But I'm so desperate to prove myself, because I am good at the game. And I lose my bottle. And I just can't seem to keep it going for a full 40 games. Like, if I'd have gone on that run I did in the first 20 and kept that going for the full 40 games, then I would have reached Elite 3 and pushed into Elite 1 and been pushing like 31, 32, 33 wins, which is phenomenal. It's absolutely incredible form. But for some reason, the past couple of weeks, despite playing that well in patches, I can't keep it going. So what I've actually done is sold absolutely everybody from these two sides that I've been using, and I'm going to completely wipe the slate clean. I'm going to practice with a new team that's worth about... I've got 3.5 million coins. Basically, what I'm going to do is use my SBC players as people off the bench, and I'm going to build just one team. With the 3.5 odd million coins, I'm just going to build the one team, and rather than having two rotation teams, and just use squad fitnesses, and just get to grips with a team that suits me, that I know I'm good with. I'm going to continue to stick with that team, because I was just falling out of love with a couple of players in these teams. Paul Scholes and Andres Iniesta, when I was playing really good football, were unbelievable in this team. And then in the bad run, they would not... just couldn't do a thing with them. I could not do a thing with them. So I'm just going to completely wipe the slate clean. Now that I've got my style of play that I know works, I'm just going to have to manage my weekend, make sure that I play games when I'm in the right frame of mind, when I'm in good form, with a rock-solid team, and just do better, basically. I have no excuses but to do better. I need to keep my cool. I need to play the standard of football I know I can on a more consistent basis, and I just need to make sure that I get the results. Because I know I can do it. I believe in myself, so it's just a case of proving that that belief is not misplaced, and actually backing up my belief that I am decent at FIFA online. I'm not just a career mode guy that wins the odd game online. I can prove myself in this Ultimate Team scene so that I can build an audience for Ultimate Team, because that's what I want to do. I've always played Ultimate Team, but I've just always uploaded career mode, and I've just... because I'm not that creative when it comes to video ideas, and Ultimate Team isn't really the sort of game mode. Yes, you have Road to Glories, etc., and I obviously started the Road to Glory this year too late. Next year I'll start it right from the beginning. But when it comes to one-off videos and one-off video content, I'm just not creative enough to think of enough ideas to come up with video content. That's why I stick to career mode, because it's more simplistic. It's easier for me to produce high-quality content of that caliber. So that's why I stick to career mode mainly, but I would love to get into the Ultimate Team scene, and I just don't want this reputation of being the career mode guy that is not good enough to play online. So I'm desperate to prove myself, which is probably why I get so worked up about it, because I am so competitive. But this guy that I'm playing against here, that we've just equalised against, was infuriating to play against in himself. He never once took control of his defenders. He would always just run around with his holding midfielders and let the CPU do all of the defending for him. Even when I eventually went in front here, 2-1 up in like the 98th minute, even from this moment on, whenever I was on the attack, he just wouldn't press me. He just let the computer jockey me, so I could run down the wings in like down the side of the box, and he just wouldn't come near me. So I just quite literally wasted the rest of the time in that game. But it took me a good hour in game to figure out how to break that defence down, because they just jockeyed with you and nothing I tried to do was working. So that's why I got so frustrated that I just gave it a crack with Patrick Kluivert from the edge of the box and it flew tops, and that kind of like set me off on the run of actually figuring out what I needed to do to beat the guy. And eventually, thankfully, we were able to do so. I was so frustrated at David De Gea as well for conceding that goal there from Eden Hazard, dab. So we went 1-0 down in this one. This was the final game. In fact, these past two were played back to back. I was 19 and 19. After being 12 and 4, I was 19 and 19. So you can well imagine what my mindset had been throughout the day here on the Sunday. So I would have waited and played more games on the Monday, but like I say, I've had such a busy schedule, I just wasn't able to do so. So I went 12 and 4 and then went 7 and 15. Thankfully, I was able to win the penultimate game and this game and get 21 wins and still make gold 2. So I actually made the same bracket as I did last week. Last week we got 24 wins. This week we got 21 wins, which isn't, in the grand scheme of things, that bad. But the manner in which we got the 21 wins was just confidence shattering. So next week, I know I keep going on and on, being like, next week's my time, next week's my time. And I hope to God that I don't find myself in the same situation next week where I'm like, next week's my time, next week's my time. But we'll just have to wait and see. We'll just have to wait and see. Hopefully I can find a team midweek that I gel with, that I can do well with, and then I just need to manage my weekend, and then fingers crossed we can do well, because I need to average 24 wins a week. Average 24 wins a week to be able to reach Elite Monthly. And so far we've got 24 and 21. So I need to make... There are cats going mad outside, by the way. I apologise if the mic's picking that up. They're like... But I need to get 27... Were you... Oh my God. I need to get 27 wins either next week or the week after or the week after. And then like average 24. And now I've got the 21. I need to get 27 in 1 week and then 24 the next. Or just, you know, more than 24, basically. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But 21 wins this week. After an electric start and playing the best FIFA ever, it was, as this episode is called, it was a downfall followed by the recovery. Because at one point, it didn't look like I was even going to qualify and get gold 3 for next week's FUT Champions. But thankfully we did. I can only apologise for my mistakes and my inability to finish things off. But hopefully next week will be the time. We'll just have to wait and see, as always. Thank you for letting me rant at you throughout all of these videos. I very much appreciate your continued support of the Ultimate Team content, and it will continue. But for now, that's all from me. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.